I am talking with somebody that I frankly can't believe I'm talking to because he was the producer of The Pistol.
The Birth of a Legend. The Hollywood magazine says the most innovative way to release a major motion picture through corporate sponsorship. Chick-fil-A.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Take on the Lake with Lake Expo. I'm Nathan Bechtold. Thanks so much for joining us. Today, I am talking with somebody that I frankly can't believe I'm talking to because Rodney Stone is the executive producer of what was one of my absolute favorite movies as a kid. And you didn't know that my favorite movie producer lived at Lake the Ozarks, but neither did I until not that long ago when Rodney and I happened to meet at a local church service. And we got to talking, and he told me, or someone had told me, that he was the producer of The Pistol.
The Birth of a Legend.
The Birth of a Legend.
Yeah.
Man, and I loved that movie so much as a kid. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about producing movies. We're going to talk about some interesting people that you know and what brought you. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. I don't even know. We'll just see. By the end of the episode, we'll know what we have talked about.
Absolutely.
But Rodney, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Good to and love your voice, and glad to know you're coming back.
Yeah, I'm coming back. I'll be back. It was at Jubilee Church, and a good friend of mine is the pastor there. And every once in a while, if there are worship leaders out, they ask me to sub in. I play guitar just well enough to get asked to do things like that, but not well enough to.
You do great.
That's not false modesty. That's real. But I appreciate that. So yeah, I'll be back over at Jubilee in a couple of weeks, helping them with the worship service. Love the folks there. Okay, so. Rodney Stone. Okay, did I say it right? You were the executive producer on The Pistol.
Executive producer, yes. And we had started way back 1986. Pete Maravich kind of had retired from basketball, the NBA. He had been inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame. Really felt like he needed to tell his testimony of life. You know, all the accolades. He said, so what, now I'm just a retired NBA player, but I want to really inspire people with my testimony. So he started doing Billy Graham crusades and speaking, and he was out in Los Angeles a few times speaking at churches. He was at a church where I was part-time youth pastor. Boy.
In L.A.
In L.A.
Yeah. And, okay, I'm gonna pause the story because some folks will. The moment I said The Pistol, there are some people that were like, "Oh my gosh,"
right?
And they had the nostalgia feeling. And then I would say probably a lot of folks who listen were like, "I don't know, is this a movie about a gunslinger? Is this like a western? What is this?" So The Pistol, The Birth of a Legend. Go Google it. You can pause the show right now. Go Google it,
please.
It's actually got a the way you can stream it, which you should. It's great. This is, and I hope that you don't take this offensively, but it's perfect, like late 80s, early 90s, like the nostalgia. Everything in that era was sort of like, it had a feeling to it. Yeah. And the feeling now actually looks a little, I don't want to say cheesy, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a kind of lack of cynicism. That's what I'm going to say. That film in the 80s and 90s had a kind, not all film. I mean, goodness, but had this kind of lack of cynicism and a kind of just a warmth and sincerity, and not attempt to put on too much. Again, a lot of very nostalgic movies, for me at least, did. And I would say that that's the feel in this movie. At the beginning, but throughout, and that's not really a criticism. It's like when you see it, you'll go, oh man, this is from a very particular era. And because it came out in 90, 91?
It came out in 1990.
Okay.
We started working on it with Pete in 1986.
Okay.
And Daryl Campbell, which happened to call in before you and I got on the air.
Yep, just got to hear him a minute ago.
Was writing the screenplay, but he was also working on some things for Pete. Co-wrote the book, Heir to a Dream, that has Thomas Nelson's all-time, I think it sold 2 million copies the first week that it came out. So Daryl wrote the book. and has also written his own book recently called Hero and Friend, because he and Pete were really tight and they loved each other. So Daryl and I went to the same church together.
Okay.
And
In L.A.?
In L.A.
Okay, yes, we're picking up that story. I didn't finish explaining what the movie is because everybody should have Googled it at this point.
Yeah.
It's about a young man, or a boy,
Yes.
whose dad is a basketball coach.
Correct.
And this boy, Pete Maravich, it's a story about a father-son relationship, very much, and how his dad is this incredible influence in his life. I love that component of the movie. Yeah. But as a kid, especially the way you see the movie, is it's a movie about a kid that becomes an absolute basketball prodigy.
Yeah.
I mean,
very much so.
No one can play ball like this kid. Yeah. And it's a true story. And
1963.
Pete Maravich, known as the Pistol, because the dude was just, I mean, it explains itself.
Yeah.
And he went on to set college basketball records. Okay, so a real estate transaction is one of the biggest moments in your life. And when it's time to sell your house at the lake, there are, probably 1,000 realtors to choose from. And any of those can put a sign in your yard. They can all get it on the MLS. But not everybody can get your listing in front of the lake's largest and most engaged audience. That's LakeExpo.com. And that's what makes Lake Expo Real Estate different. It's a fusion of the lake's top real estate company and LakeExpo.com, the local leading digital media company with the largest audience at the lake, probably where you found Take on the Lake, and certainly the one that produces Take on the Lake. Lake Expo Real Estate doesn't just list homes, they market them. So if you're thinking about selling, don't just ask who's going to list my house, ask who's going to see my listing. You know what also makes Lake Expo Real Estate different? I'm a partner in the company, so I bet you didn't see that coming, but you probably did. When you choose Lake Expo Real Estate, you're actually in a roundabout way helping support me and this show. That's just an added perk. Check out Lake Expo Real Estate online at lakeexporealestate.com. They're also on all the major social media platforms. You can find them there. Get your lake house seen, get your lake house sold, Lake Expo Real Estate. One of which is, debatably has been broken, but we talked about we'll get into that.
Caitlin Clark. If I hear Caitlin Clark one more time.
Controversy. All right, we're only 5 minutes into the show.
But she's amazing. She's amazing. She's no Pete Maravich, but she's amazing.
Yeah. And he went on to set basketball NCAA records and then
stood for 40 years.
Yeah, and then played in the NBA for a little bit.
Celtics,
Yeah. So man, so that's who Pete Maravich is, and we'll get back to the background of the story. But I wanted to interrupt that a little bit because again, some folks will go, "Oh yeah, no, I've watched the movie many times," and a lot of folks will not have heard of it. I mentioned it to our Lake Expo summer interns who are college age, and they never seen it. They're gonna see it now. They better go see it. But a great film, family friendly, very obviously faith forward. But I'll say this. I'll say this as a way that I don't really mean as a criticism elsewhere so much as a praise of this film. It wasn't, it doesn't drown you in the faith component. No. And as a Christian, I'm saying I believe in, I'm a Christian, right? Like I believe in Christ and all those things, but I don't like when a movie feels like it's less about the story it's trying to tell and more about trying to kind of dump an idea on you.
Right.
There was an old, I don't know if it was a producer or somebody that said, if you want to send a message, write a letter, right? But don't make a movie. And there's something about certain movies where you're like, you guys gave up on the story to try to get a message across, and I appreciate the message, but tell a good story. I think The Pistol actually does a great job of the faith component is there. But it tells an awesome story. Yeah, well, that's my praise for The Pistol in particular.
And by the way, wearing the shirt, original. I took this out of the closet.
It's in good shape
because Chick-fil-A was my hero in this film, and going back to the making of it. I was working at Warner Brothers Pictures, just coming out of a film called The Mission with Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons, which is very much a Catholicism. And I'd lived in New Orleans when I was a kid, but very much Catholic. And So they didn't know what to do with that movie. So basically, I was coming out of that, and Pete Maravich was in town, and Frank Schroeder, who was kind of the director of the film, ended up being the director of the film, called me and he said, Daryl Campbell said, "Hey, can we meet with you at Warner Brothers because we want to make this into a film?"
The Pete's story.
Yeah.
They're talking about. Yeah.
And so they come to Warner Brothers. I introduce them to Barry Reardon. Barry Reardon does the meeting with Pete. I mean, there was a whole writer's table that was there. The president of Warner Brothers was there. And Pete said, "Hey, if you don't know God, guys, you're falling short in your life. You can do all of this. You can be president of Warner Brothers Pictures, but if you don't know Jesus, your lives will never be the same. And you're going to have to give an account one day." So thank you. So he basically got up. I shook his hand because I was an LSU fan when I was a kid living in New Orleans. I said, "Man, you're my hero, basketball hero." And he said, "Thank you very much." So they leave. Barry Reardon calls me over. He says, "We don't want to do a G-rated family film." He said, "Man, I've got all these movies coming out. 87% of them R-rated R, NC-17. We don't want a G-rated." He said, "Send them on to Disney." So I followed Pete out in the parking lot, and I said, "Man, I'd love to be involved in this film." Frank Schroeder, who was a brilliant genius in the film business, said, "Hey, let's talk." So they kept coming out a couple of years, and in 1988, we had written the screenplay, the book Heir to a Dream. ESPN had these training videos out, and they were doing great for ESPN.
Tell me about the training videos.
Well,
They did training videos
ball handling
with Pete?
With Pete.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I don't know about these.
So we had done all those. I don't know if they're still around.
I'm going to have to go dig them up.
They may be as old
I
as.
bet they're on YouTube somewhere.
I bet they are. So we had done all this to put his name back in the marketplace.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
So he said, "Hey, we're coming back out, and we're going to be doing." He said, "I'm going to do a pickup game of basketball with James Dobson, Dr. James Dobson, focused on the family."
Right.
And he said, "Hey, I've read the screenplay." He said, "Can you and Daryl Campbell meet me afterwards?" He said, "Because there's a few things in the script." He said, "My father and I were so close." He said, "So I want there to be more father and son relationship in the film. Can we meet afterwards?" So Daryl Campbell calls me. He says, "Hey, I'll pick you up. Let's just ride together. I'll pick you up and we'll go to Pasadena." Daryl picks me up. We're headed there, and all of a sudden, Frank, I remember the phones in the cars, they were about this big. Frank calls and he says, "Hey, come to Pasadena Hospital. Pete's had an accident." So we get over there to the hospital, and of course, we see the media everywhere. And walk in, and of course, Pete's passed. After the basketball game, James Dobson looked at him and he says, "Man, Pete, you've still got it. But we had to chop it off. We've got to go do the interview." And Pete looks at him and he says, "I need to play this more. I've had a shoulder pain." But he said, I need to play more again." He said, "Thanks for doing this." Boom. Fell dead. They heard a crack on the floor, gym floor, turned around, and Pete, of course, had gone on to be with Jesus.
Wow.
So
How old was he?
40. January the 5th, 1988. I had to go back to the hotel room, collect Pete's stuff, pack it up with Daryl Campbell and Frank Schroeder. And I'll never forget this. Frank had to call the wife before the news got out that Pete had passed. And I'll never forget hearing her voice. What every parent or wife or husband would not want to hear is your husband is gone, and you'll never see him again. He left 2 children behind. Jason was, I think, 13 or 14. In the movie, Tom Lester walks in the basketball court. I know I'm giving you a lot of stuff here.
Go.
But Tom Lester, which used to be Ebb on Green Acres,
Okay.
I saw he and Pete standing together. Tom Lester was about 6'5", five. I hear the Southern accent
Southern comes out.
Yeah. And then Pete was standing there. I said, they look a lot alike. So we got Tom Lester to walk in with Jason, the son of Pete Maravich. And at the start of the movie, that's how it starts.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually Pete Maravich's real son walking with kind of behind the scenes of casting. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Man,
Sorry to get us off there.
That's great. That's quite a story. And I wanted to hear the how you got connected with that. So I mean, just to recap, it's early mid '80s. You're doing youth ministry at a church in LA. You're
First
working
Baptist
for
Church,
Warner
Van
Brothers because
Nuys.
you're trying to break into the film industry.
Absolutely.
On the production side.
Yeah.
And you had already worked on at least one movie with them, the one you mentioned.
Right.
And then who
working
was it?
on-
And then Pete, who introduced or who brought Pete into that scene? Go back over that with me again.
Daryl Campbell actually was helping me in the youth department. He and his wife, Pam Campbell, who, by the way, now have retired to Mount Vernon, Missouri, where he was raised. Little for Missouri there, Missouri folks. And he said, man, would you help us produce this film?
So he was kind of on to the Pete story.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. I wanted to make sure I had that story right in my head. So when Pete died, you guys had finished the movie already or no?
We were casting the film at that time.
Oh, okay. So
And
you had the script and everything, but you hadn't even shot it.
Yeah, I had not shot it.
I see. Okay.
And so thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, so the film actually takes place in Clemson, South Carolina in 1963 is when it starts. And Pete wanted to make a movie that inspires young people, which is, you had said something about that. And he said, everybody can tell my life story, but I want to tell where the pistol that I became, the pistol begins, was his 8th grade year in school when the high school was doing tryouts and he went and tried out. Mm-hmm. And he made the high school basketball team.
His dad was the coach, right?
No,
Wasn't he? No.
He was coach
he was
at Clemson.
A Clemson coach.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
That's right. Yeah, but
yeah.
not at the high school. But
Yeah.
there's this whole component of him kind of
exactly.
telling the high school coach, like, hey, man, he's got it. You need to give him a chance.
Exactly.
And all this stuff. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love, there's really, truly, the father-son component in that movie is stellar. It was really, really, really well done.
Yeah.
So that's the how you got onto the story and made the movie. Talk a little about making the movie, because the young man, the boy that plays Pete,
Yeah. Adam Guier.
incredible.
Yeah.
All right, quick pause here, because if you're on Lake of the Ozarks and you don't have XTOW, honestly, I don't really know what you're doing. Like, best case scenario, you never need it. And that's great, and because nobody ever really wants to break down out on Lake of the Ozarks. But if you do, you're either the guy who's drifting, frantically trying to call a buddy to come hook up to your boat and drag you back to the dock, or you're the guy who just pulls out his phone, taps a button, knows that you're taken care of. That's the difference. Plus, XTOW members save 10 cents a gallon at more than a dozen marinas around the lake. Honestly, you know how much fuel your boat holds. If you boat very much, that's going to probably cover the cost of your membership. XTOW's a membership. It's not a one-time thing. It is peace of mind for the whole boating season. Towing, fuel savings, help when you need it, no stress, no scrambling. Honestly, it's one of those things where once you have it, you're like, yeah, I'm never not having this again. That's what our members tell us, and that's why we are almost at 1,000 members at Lake of the Ozarks. So if you're boating at the lake, just go get it. LakeXTOW.com. Join today. Use promo code TAKE, and you can save $25 on your first year. Just use promo code TAKE, and you'll save $25 on your first year. Not even going to make you type in "take on the lake." Just use promo code TAKE, and you'll save $25 at LakeXTOW.com on your XTOW Captains Club membership. XTOW, it's a no-brainer. Don't worry, boat happy with XTOW.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, like, how did he learn to play basketball that well?
Yeah.
Because Pete is just a prodigy.
Right.
And I always remember as a kid watching these scenes, and he's doing the machine gun dribble, and like he's doing some unbelievable stuff on the court. And it's like they didn't have CGI in the late '80s when they're shooting this.
Yeah.
That kid actually had to learn how to do some of that stuff.
Actually, Pete went to Shreveport, Louisiana. There was a big tryout with a bunch of FCA people came in, bringing kids that they thought would be a great Pete Maravich. And Pete went to Shreveport and found Adam was going to Byrd High School in Shreveport, Louisiana. And Adam came to the tryout. And Pete said, that's like me, because he walked in, wasn't that energetic, kind of coming, meandering over to him. And he said, that was me. He said, I was not this guy that went, let me in, coach.
Yeah.
He said, I was this little guy that kind of humbly would walk up. So,
but he obviously already was a basketball player.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. So again, it wasn't like he had to learn the game, but yeah, just his skills on camera are just remarkable.
Well, he took those training videos.
Oh.
And he trained off of those videos.
Cool.
So he emulated everything that Pete did in those videos that ESPN was their big sellers at that time. So obviously when someone dies like that, it changes everything. So about a year goes by until we're able to put the finances together to do the film. A lot of it came from big donors in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, because that's where Pete was living at the time of his death. So yeah, we went and filmed this small budget movie, and a lot of the people in the movie. As a matter of fact, I had done a movie called The Hitcher with C. Thomas Howell and Rutger Hauer and Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Okay.
I went immediately to those guys and I said, hey, C. Thomas, you like basketball? We're on a basketball team together with a guy by the, well, we won't go there, but a few nuts. Charlie Sheen was on that basketball team, and we played at the church gymnasium, First Baptist Church.
You were playing on a basketball team with Charlie Sheen?
Oh, it was hilarious. That's another podcast.
Winning. Yeah,
winning,
some winning going on there.
That wasn't the only thing.
That's my favorite Charlie Sheen
winning
moment ever. Yes.
Yeah, so it was Charlie, and the whole thing was crazy. We had a ball, by the way. But so C. Thomas Howell was actually supposed to play on the high school team, and a week before we were to start filming, C. Thomas called and he talked like this. He says, Rod, I'm going to do a movie called Side Out. And he said, I'm not going to be able to be in the film. So Frank Schroeder, the director, said, well, Rodney, you play basketball. We need a short guy. And we need a guy that's got an attitude that really wants to beat the pistol up the entire film. Mm-hmm. So I'm 30 years old. And they said, we won't do any close-up, but you be in the film. So I play Walker, number 10 in the film.
Oh, nice.
But I've come and take his side. And there's a place where the bully's going to take on, I always call him Adam Guier. That's his real name.
Right.
And he shows up the gym to beat the kid up. And this guy comes in that had basically hated him the entire movie, Walker. And I said, you're not going to kick this kid's butt.
Right. Yeah. No, I remember that moment. Yeah.
And
I didn't realize that was you in there.
And that was me.
That's great.
Man, I'm old now.
That's great.
I'll be 70 July 10th.
Oh,
so
you don't look a day over.
Yeah.
64 and a half.
Yeah. My body's feeling it. And grandkids are making me feel even worse. No, I'm kidding. I love my grandkids. So, yeah, that was, so we made the film. You know the film. I mean, I've had guys from Michael Jordan. We've interviewed Michael Jordan. We've interviewed Steve Nash. We've interviewed Charles Barkley, all these guys, and they said Pete Maravich was the man. Before the way the game is being played today, Pete was playing. That's the way Pete was playing the game. So
love it.
Then I went back. We had made the film. We went back to put distribution together. Here I had worked for Warner Brothers Pictures. I knew distribution. Everybody in the business turned us down. Nobody wanted to put out a G-rated family film.
Bunch of punks.
Bunch of punks,
man. It's a great movie.
So there was no faith and family market.
Right,
There was no
right.
no Angel Studios
Right,
in those days.
right.
It was Warner Brothers, Paramount, Sony, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I called up a buddy of mine, and I'll say his name,
Yep, say it.
Bubba Cathy,
Yep.
whose father, Truett Cathy, started Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, listen, I know the film business, theaters want good family entertainment, but there's nothing available for them. We don't need them. Kansas City has all the film theatrical outlets. I know them all. I know all those guys. I said, can we get the money to open to 400 theaters in the Southeast? And Bubba said, well, come bring the movie. Let me show Dad. So we sat in a theater in Jonesboro, Georgia. And Truett, Cathy, Frank Schroeder, and Daryl and I sat there showing this movie with Bubba Cathy. And afterward, Truett said, what do you need? He said, I got a peanut in my pocket. You need a peanut? I said,
I need a lot of peanuts.
I said, I need a lot of peanuts. And I told him the amount. He took out, and I was telling this to James Dobson, he took out his checkbook and wrote me the entire amount that was needed. That blessed my life,
Man,
blessed all of our lives.
That's amazing.
So
That's amazing.
after we opened it in 400 theaters, we premiered it at Fox Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. Variety magazine comes out, the Hollywood magazine, and says the most innovative way to release a major motion picture through corporate sponsorship, Chick-fil-A. So that was the beginning of sponsored films. And that's a template now, because at the end of it, you're going to ask me the question, where do you see films? Because Hollywood is killing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
we'll
they
talk
are.
about
Yeah.
that. I know I'm getting off
Yeah.
your deal
Yeah.
here.
No, that's all right. I love that. At the beginning, at least of the version I watched,
Yeah.
Truett has a little.
That's
He
it.
kind of breaks the fourth wall in
Yeah,
a way. He has
yeah.
just kind of.
Yeah.
Was that in the original?
That was it.
Premiere. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah.
really remember. I
Yeah.
didn't remember that as a kid.
I'm
so
sorry
he's,
too, and I jumped. You know, I've told this story so many times. It's like, interviewing Andy Griffin of Mayberry.
Right.
You know, you forget setting them, what people need to hear.
That's okay. This is what I always like to say is that my ignorance is my greatest asset because
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't
Right.
even know what I don't know half the time, but
Right.
I try to know
Yeah.
what I don't know so I can ask it. But
Yeah.
I just like to kind of probe, and then we just kind
Right,
of
right.
like all the things, and I don't
I
know much at all about it,
apologize.
so I'm just asking. So was that like part of the deal, or did he request that, or did you guys say, "Hey, we'd like you to do that"? Because that's an interesting way to start a movie.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool in a way. At first, I didn't remember it. Like I watched I'm not explaining things well. I watched the movie recently with my kids.
Okay.
And it had been a long time since I had watched it.
Right.
I think it was on VHS in the 90s is when I was watching it. And so I watched it
funny.
with my kids, and if you go to what's the web? Do you remember the URL offhand? To the website for the pistol.
Yeah,
just Google it.
pistolmovie.com.
Pistolmovie.com, and you buy it. You basically
yeah.
you can sign up and buy like a.
Yeah.
You buy it for your account there, and you can just stream it whenever
Right,
you want.
right.
Is how to do it.
Well, and they have it on for free right now. But
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
You can get it for free.
Excellent.
So
thanks to
get out
Take
there.
on the Lake, they've made it free. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
That has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So go do that for free right now.
Yeah,
But then the way I did, I just turned it on the computer and mirrored it up to our TV, and that's how we watched it. But I'm sure there's a lot of ways to do that. But when we did that, Truett has this opening kind of greeting to the audience,
Yeah.
and I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it in a way because he kind of made this tribute to what he thinks movie going and movie watching ought to be.
True.
And it was very nostalgic, honestly. It was very kind of idealistic. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like some. I mean, he was an
Yeah.
old guy at that point, even.
He
So it was
said-
very something like an old guy
Yeah.
would do.
Yeah.
And I liked it. It was great. And it was like, all right, on with the show.
Yeah.
You know. And then the movie starts. And I don't know. It's a fun way to start.
He's got
a really
bunch
fun
of
movie.
kids around him, and he
Yeah.
says, "Hi, I'm CEO and founder of Chick-fil-A, and we're proud to sponsor this G-rated family movie. Come on, kids, come on into theater.
Yes.
Popcorns, milk duds, what do you want?" And he walks on and shows him
so
walking.
good. It's
Thanks
so
to
good.
Frank Schroeder directed that.
So that's what I'm saying about. I mean, I think film in good, wholesome film a lot of times in the 80s and 90s did have this kind of unironic feel to it, but that has some extra unironic feel to it because it's just genuine and Truett, Cathy going, "Hi," and welcoming people in. Man, what a great! I loved it. Now there are some people out there. I know they exist, although I don't know if I know any of them that don't like Chick-fil-A.
Correct.
And
I meet them every day.
Listen, it's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to like Chick-fil-A. You don't have to like Truett, Cathy. You don't have to like great chicken if you don't want to like great chicken.
Yeah.
I kind of think some people don't like Chick-fil-A because they don't like what Chick-fil-A stands for.
Correct.
I think you should just be honest about that. Just go, I don't like what they stand for. And at least then we could be honest. Sometimes other people say the chicken's gross. And I'm like, I just think you don't like the worldview. And you should just say it.
Right.
But even if, here's where I'm going.
There's a president like that too.
Yeah. So even if you don't like Chick-fil-A, it's a great movie. They don't even eat any Chick-fil-A chicken on the movie, right? In fact, if you just can't handle Truett, Cathy, you can just fast forward through that part real quick and start the movie, and it'll be okay. You'll love them. So again, most folks out there are stoked about the Chick-fil-A that's coming to the lake.
Yes.
But you see in the comments, people go, "Ugh," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine. Nobody's forcing you to eat there, right? Whatever." But I think that's so cool that that Truett with his empire that he had built funded a really great family-friendly film that has great values in it and is a well-produced movie. Again, like I said, it's not trying to cram a message down your throat. The message is in there, but it's a great movie. There's great character development. There's great moments of, kind of climactic, what's going to happen to the main character and all that kind of stuff. It was great. It was so fun to watch. My kids all loved it.
Millie Perkins, which her famous movie is A Diary of Anne Frank, is the mother. Nick Benedict, of course, has been in tons of stuff. But, what's funny about the Chick-fil-A people, or Truett, Cathy, I should say. And by the way, I will say this. Truett, Cathy looked at me, and I said, "You're going to make all your money back." And he said, "Rodney, I don't want a thing." He said, "I just want you to make sure every kid in America is inspired by this story." That's
cool.
That's where he was coming from. He didn't care about the money. And later I found out that they were really struggling at that time. Chick-fil-A had built this massive building in Atlanta. We're going through some struggling. So it hurt his pocketbook to give it, but he gave it out of generosity, and I feel like being obedient to God. Now, today, and most people don't know, he died. As a matter of fact, my brother did the music for his funeral about, I don't know how many years ago. But today, they own the largest studios in North America, where Marvel Comics films, Avenger 4,
Really?
Yeah, called Trillith Studios in Fayetteville, Georgia. 1,500 acres. They have 40 sound stages that this whole complex could fit inside the studios.
The Chick-fil-A empire owns this?
Dan Cathy.
The Cathy family owns
Cathy
this?
family owns
Wow.
Trillith Studios.
I had no idea.
Francis Ford Coppola just wrapped his movie not long ago. The Rock filmed his movies there. Major movies are being filmed there at Trillith Studios. And it's another thing that they reach into the world. Well, ask me if Francis Ford Coppola hates Chick-fil-A. I mean, he is Mr. Hollywood. So, I can chuckle when people say, "Well, I don't like Chick-fil-A."
Yeah.
They're okay with that.
Yeah.
They'll be all right.
It's fine.
Believe me.
It's
87 richest Americans now.
Yeah.
87. You know, there'll be a friend of mine that has done well in Osage Beach. In fact, my brother-in-law, Dr. Alan Mead, has done very well here at the lake. His home is catty corner to us on the lake there. You know, those guys do well, but being on the 87 richest Americans,
Yeah.
God's blessed that company.
That's doing well.
They'll be okay.
A lot of people like chicken. A lot of people like Chick-fil-A
they
chicken.
like chicken.
So I didn't know that they owned that studio. Was when Truett Cathy wrote you that check, was that his first foray into the world of film, or had he been involved in some stuff before that?
Yeah, in fact, the head of their marketing program says, hey, we're into chicken business, not the film business.
Yeah.
Well, 30 years later, they're big time into the film business.
That's really a cool part of that story.
Yeah.
Because arguably them being involved in the Pistol was kind of the first chapter of them now having the largest film production studio in the country, in North America, on the continent.
You think
that's amazing?
Okay, Warner Brothers, Paramount Studios, no, they're the largest in North America.
Probably Western Hemisphere. Is there a bigger one in South America?
I don't think so.
Probably not Antarctica.
Yeah.
We could just say the whole Western Hemisphere and Antarctica. They have the largest.
Well, let's put it in there.
Let's do it.
Hey, I'm a Southern Baptist preacher's kid. Let's put it on.
Yeah, pump those numbers up.
What did you say before?
Ministerial rounding.
Ministerial rounding.
Term, yes.
Yeah, that's great.
So, okay. So that's the background. Talk a little then about some other movies or other projects you've been involved with.
Yeah.
Did that open any doors for you when you produced?
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went, it's funny, in 1989 is when I moved here to the lake because my father-in-law and mother-in-law and family live in this area. And by the way, I have been married to my wife, Tamara, for 45 years.
Congratulations.
And
wonderful.
Yeah, I met her in Oklahoma, and she couldn't get rid of me. But Dr. Tom Garrett and his wife, Patty Garrett, Tom has now gone to be with the Lord, but he used to have a clinic here called the Convenience Clinic.
Okay.
That used to be in the old Walmart parking lot. That's where there was, and then they moved behind, of course, Target. But, great MD, and I was going to do the Pistol, and my wife said, hey, we've had our first child. I'm going to go home and visit my parents while you're in Louisiana filming the movie. So I came back, and that was 1989, and I fell in love with the lake, man. And
like so many do.
Yeah, yep. And I said, man, so I went back and retired from what I was doing in L.A., and we moved here full-time and lived at Hawk Island, looking at Marina. Well, today it's Buffett World, but our house used to look at
Margaritaville. You're talking
Margaritaville.
about?
Yeah, Margaritaville.
Buffett World. That's a good
Buffett World. Nibbling on sponge cake.
Yeah.
So 26-mile marker right there.
Okay.
And lived there for years, and I used to travel out there because after I did the Pistol, my heart was in music with my two older brothers doing Christian music.
Okay.
And we had kind of a pop sound in the 70s, if you can imagine this.
No, I cannot, but I would like to hear it. Yeah,
and so remember the big men's conferences that used to take place? I forget what.
Like Promise Keepers
Promise
type stuff?
Keepers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we started singing, doing projects with Chick-fil-A, marriage seminars with Chick-fil-A, and of course Bubba and the Cathy family were on our board. So I did that for 20-something years. I'd fly out every Friday from Springfield. And I'm telling you, I had 4 kids by then. And, we kept busy.
Yeah,
but
no kidding.
I was coming back, and Harry Thomas and Linda Bloodworth, which did Designing Women, Evening Shade, Hearts of Fire, created all those shows.
Okay.
Harry called me and he says, man, what are you doing? I said, I'm traveling every week out of the Lake of the Ozarks. And I said, I get on this bus, and we're going around the countryside with my two older brothers. And he said, "Oh, man," he said, "I need you." And he said, "I need you to produce a film for me." And so it was the story that today, I'm going somewhere with this, put everybody together that I work with again. A lady by the name of Gina Goff, who I'll talk about her Senior Moment movie. But Harry Thomason said, "Yeah, I need you to do a movie with me." So that got me out of the music business, back into the film business. Ray McKinnon, Callie Kuko, we did Hank Williams Sr. movie together, and it did very well, very well. So that got me out.
Okay.
So as a matter of fact, I was premiering that movie here in our hometown, and look it up. My mind has gone blank because people will love.
What's the movie?
It was. That's what I've drawn a blank on. We'll have to fill
the Hank
that.
Williams Sr. movie
Yeah,
you're talking
Hank
about.
Williams Sr. Yeah, I had that written down. It's been so many years ago. I'm getting
The Last Ride?
The Last Ride.
The Last Ride?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, The Last Ride is what got me off of the road back into the film business. Harry Thomason directed that. Callie Kuko, Ray McKinnon from The Blind Side. People remember him.
2011.
And that was 2011.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Cool. I wish I had produced so many movies that I forgot the name of the movie I produced.
Well,
but,
I was
maybe
thinking,
someday.
yeah,
Goals.
and we were producing. We did the premiere here, and there was a lady that came up and she said, "Hey, I live at the Lake area, but I'm from L.A. and I have a home here." And her name was Gina Goff, and so the second movie was Senior Moment with William Shatner, Christopher Lloyd, and Jean Smart. Well, I had known Jean Smart because I had worked with her on Designing Women. Mm-hmm. So that was an easy movie to come out and do. So anyway, wow.
Christopher Lloyd, man.
Yeah, we had a great cast.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm looking that up right now.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, that's fun.
Sorry, you go through these things and all of a sudden you have can I say it on the show, a brain fart.
Sure.
And you can't remember the
Watch
title.
free on Zumo Play. Okay, I'm gonna save these tabs for later. Senior Moment.
Yeah.
Fun. So,
And
yeah,
by
go
the
ahead.
way, Henry Thomas, the kid that played E.T., was on E.T., was also in The Last Ride.
Okay.
So that movie has a lot of clout. A lot of clout.
Very cool.
So anyway,
When you're working on a movie, when you're producing a movie, because I pretend like I know the difference when my kids have asked me, like when the credits roll and they'll say, "What's a producer and a director do?" And I'm like, they do different things. The producer produces and the director directs.
Right.
And I don't. I've never totally understood. I kind of do. I mean, I know the director is the guy who has the kind of vision and is in charge of getting the vision to work itself out in front of the camera.
Right.
But as the executive producer, what did you do and what did you not do?
Yeah.
Or on the Pistol or some of these others. But I'm just like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I love to take it from the idea. Like if you come to me and I go, "Nathan, what's a great project or what do you think's a great film?" And you bring me just a one-page story synopsis of it. "Hey, I think this would be a great picture. There's a guy that I know this story to be true." So I go, "That'd be a great film." So the executive producer puts everybody together. He goes, "All right, I know who could produce this. I know where we could produce it here at the lake. I'll call Jason Bateman and get the story idea in front of him, get him to sign on. If Jason Bateman wants to do it, cool, we'll let him direct it." You start putting the puzzle together of everybody that can be involved, along with financial people. Now, I tell people this. Has every stock that I've ever invested in made money? No.
Mm-hmm.
Has every car I've ever bought and resold made money? No. Has there been some homes that I've invested in that didn't make the money? No.
Right.
Not every film. In fact, The Last Ride did not do good financially.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't. And it had all these star names in it. Versus The Pistol is my bread and butter.
Right. And I
It's
mean,
funny.
that's what's interesting about, and I think most people know this once you think about it, but you don't think about it when you're experiencing a series, a show, or a movie, is that
Right.
it is it's a business.
Yeah.
It's a product, and you're gonna put a certain amount. You have to have a budget,
Right.
keep it or not,
Yeah.
and then you put a certain amount into it,
Right.
and you get a certain amount out of it through everything from movie theater debut
Right.
to streaming to all the distribution. I have literally no idea where all those revenue streams even come from anymore now with the fragmented media landscape and all that. But at the end of the day, you want it like any business thing to
Right.
be in the black and not in the red.
Absolutely.
at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
So
I either have people that love me or hate me. There's no well, you hate that guy.
Yeah.
But thank the Lord, we've been mostly successful in most films that we've worked on. And I would like to say the future. Where do I see the future of film?
yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, because you were involved in producing, have been involved in producing, fairly large with some fairly big name. I don't know what the biggest budget movie you ever worked on was, but some things with that were a substantial project.
Huge. Yeah.
And I think COVID did some things damaging, or actually, I don't know if it did some damaging things or if it just revealed some fault lines that were already there in the film industry.
Yeah.
I think culture generally in the film industry it's eating itself, frankly, but the way people experience stories on the screen, it has changed because technology changed. We have to deal with this even at Lake Expo. Like we're a news organization, and we've looked back. Not to make this about me, but I'm making a parallel here. We started in 2008 when the first iPhone was about to. I think the iPhone 1 maybe was. I can forget what year.
Yeah.
We started in 2008, and we were online on only online,
Yeah.
not in print, and we were on computer screens. On your computer is where you got to Lake Expo, and we were doing news at the lake, right? That was what our founder knew, but he knew it in print.
Yeah.
And we've watched over the years as broadly across the country, organizations that did news had to adapt or die.
Yeah.
And the print medium itself generally, not always, but generally wasn't working anymore. And the ones who said, okay, we have to adapt to what people are doing now, found a way to evolve. It still is a pretty difficult scene out there, but have found a way to evolve. And the ones that were married to the medium died a slow, painful death.
Yeah.
And
True.
And so I think that's true in like the news world, right? And then even for us, we had to go. I was just complaining to my partner Brent about this the other day. I said, it drives me crazy that what we do for a job, like our publishing happens on a desktop computer, and we experience the stuff that we do, the web presence that we have on a desktop. Nobody's on their desktop computer looking at this stuff. They're on their phone, right? And so, and you forget that you have to make sure that the experience works right on. So we're still trying to, make sure that works right. So you always just kind of have to keep looking at, well, what are people actually doing, and how can I continue doing what I do well, and meeting them with the way that they want to engage with that. And so that's a really terrible way of getting into how film, the film industry, Hollywood, or whatever we want to say about that, needs to change, or how it maybe is dying in some ways. I mean, you see these massive licensing deals that are happening, the Paramount thing, right? And some of that, and I can't tell if those actually mean that there's real, like that the consolidation is an indicator of growth, or if it's or if it's a last gasp attempt at milking a few more dollars out of legacy titles.
Right.
I've said a lot. You tell me what you think about all these things and more.
Well, the micro movies and stuff are what's taken over, because kids will watch something for 20 minutes and then they'll put it down. But in fact, Daryl Campbell was saying this the other day. He was speaking at some forum and he said, how many kids here watch television? And out of about 100 kids, he said, about 20 raised their hands. Said, we watch television. The rest are on their phone.
Right.
And they couldn't even tell a show that they are watched. What I'm seeing, what I'm putting together business-wise with these partners that I've had for years and years is basically, these big corporate sponsorships have just, and I'll use Budweiser. Budweiser puts billions of dollars into advertising sponsorships, or used to. I'm just using them because our Lake area knows Budweiser. It could be Chick-fil-A. But they will throw money, billions of dollars at shows. Let's say the Super Bowl.
Right.
What, $15 million for 30 seconds? So I've gone in there and basically told them, hey, how would you like to be in an ecosystem here where you basically can invest in the project, you can control the accounting, because that's where Hollywood has killed themselves, because they keep about 3 different books. It's the books that they know what's going on, and then there's the book of getting production dollars back, and then there's the book that reports to you. And by the time it gets to you, the movie hadn't made any money. 0. No, it didn't make any money. What do you mean? It made $50 million in 80 foreign countries. No. The cost to go to Cannes Film Festival was this and this and this. And so the way that I'm setting it up with my company in any movie is, number one, we don't need Hollywood anymore. So about 50% of it will be gone. The accounting, and there's a new service that we're going to offer that if you have a movie, number one, we're going to get the business that's already throwing billions of dollars to advertising. They'll have ownership in it. And guess where the accounting will come back first? Comes back to them, then they write all the checks. I'm already seeing that happening, and we did it with Chick-fil-A at the very start. So I know the template works.
Interesting.
And you can do it. Lake Expo can do it. Target can do it. They can make their own productions now, control the distribution of it. They can go worldwide. We're going to have a theater in every Target store where your family can come. I don't want to use Target, but anyway, whatever. Hobby Lobby. Let's use Hobby
We got
Lobby.
one of those here.
Yeah. Hobby Lobby can go to the theater, do a Hobby Lobby distribution of their film, and the Greens can show up and say, this is a new film we're putting out. They don't have to go through accounting Hollywood anymore, because Hollywood doesn't control that. And that's what the Cathys have done with Truett Studios. So anyway, I applaud what's going on in the film business, because I have some enemies in the film business because they didn't make their money back, and I hate that. And I didn't make the money back either.
Right.
You know?
So it sounds like you think there is a way forward for movies.
Huge.
Okay. Because
Absolutely.
Man, you think about the way people engage with video content, right? This is what you were saying.
Now I read on a high horse.
Well, it's an interesting high horse. I read a Substack blog last year, and it was somebody, I don't remember who it was, but that seemed to have some knowledge of the inner workings of Hollywood, and of these the platforms, Netflix,
Right,
and some of these. And what she was saying in this, I don't remember if it was a man or a woman that wrote it, but anyways, what they were saying was that the philosophy behind a lot of these sort of content mills like Netflix and Amazon and some of these other ones, where you're like, man, there is always tons of stuff to watch. It all looks terrible, honestly. Like we canceled our Netflix a while back because it was all just garbage. It was total garbage.
Yeah, true.
And they were saying the philosophy behind it is actually that they would make a movie with, and I might mess this up what they said a little bit, but with attractive people that's generally watchable, that has a plot that is very simple and not difficult to follow, and it has a lot of visually engaging things happening, but doesn't require your absolute attention, because they know that they use the term second screen, right? Because you've got this in front of you when you're sitting at home streaming that.
Exactly.
You're on two screens. And they actually like this screen better broadly. They can serve you ads on this screen, right? And all that stuff. And again, all the ad targeting is happening. They know where you are. If you're streaming, then the streaming platform that you're streaming on knows your IP address. They know where you are, and ads can be served to you. So it's this bizarre, weird, intentional, I'm trying to think of a appropriate term to use, but downgrading in quality of a lot of what we would call movies, content. Actually, I like the term content because it's kind of vulgar almost. It's like it's just content anymore. It's not even a movie. This downgrading in quality of those because they don't actually care that much. And probably the actors on screen would love to have great careers and all. There's people who care. But from a production standpoint, they have a bigger game in mind, and the bigger game is like the second screen that you're on, and making a movie that's not. If you watch older movies, sometimes you'll even have this experience now. I don't know that I can call myself a younger person now, but
you're pretty young.
Younger than some people and older than a lot of people at 42. But you'll have this experience where you go, wow, some of these older movies, you really got to stick with it to follow the plot of what's happening. And if you compare that with modern storytelling, if we can call it that now, in a lot of films, they look awful. There's not very much of a story there at all, and that's intentional. I also think that our culture has lost its ability to tell good stories. Largely, not completely, but a lot in our culture have. So that's a whole separate thing. But I just ranted about that for a second. But you have a rant I think that is probably related to this. So when you see that, what has happened to the kind of content that we can stream, how do you feel about it?
Well, and I was just talking to John Lithgow about this. Simon Lithgow, a couple of weeks. You can tell I've been gone a month. He did a show called American Idol, and was very successful at it. And so now he's moving into another area, which is where we're going and where you're talking about going, or you're there. And by the way, I just thought of your age, 42. Pete was 40. He was young.
Wow.
That's where we're going to, and I think kids are coming up and they're going, okay, I'm a writer. I want to be in film. I want to be a producer. I want to direct. How can I get going in the business? You can absolutely get an iPhone today and do a show. I think there's a horror flick out that's, I don't condone horror flicks. Sorry, Gina Goff, because I know she just did one. They can take a camera and spend $50,000, $30,000 on the entire budget, and all of a sudden it does $50 million. So the production days of these big productions, we'll always have them because you'll always have The Rock that's doing these big budget films.
Yeah, right. Big names, big budgets, big explosions, big things happening,
But how much of that is being produced versus kids that are doing shows that our children, hopefully, you have how many kids?
5 kids.
Lord, I pray for Nathan right now.
Oh, man, it's good. It's a party.
Yeah. So, are any of them interested in doing what you're doing, or the
I
television?
don't know yet. The
industry?
oldest one's 15, so we're going to figure that out as time goes on. So
Okay.
we'll
All
see.
right. Well, they're too young. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is. We live in a fantastic day and age, and for music too. You know, you can sit by your pool at your house and record a song and then put it on streaming. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, not that this is a super well-produced show right here,
I
but,
love
it
this.
didn't
I love
cost
the
us
studio.
very much to put some good mics on a table and have a decent little board here off camera, and I shoot this on my iPhone. Again, I know that
Yeah,
I had
here
one
we go.
person, this was back in the January boat shows before I had done some upgrades in here, and they were like, love the podcast. You got to make some upgrades to the audio and video. And I have done so. And even those, I mean, those were to the tune of, I don't know, $1,500, $2,000 bucks, maybe,
right.
Maybe a couple, $2,000 or $3,000 versus what you would think of. So you're right. Like the accessibility in terms of producing media content
Right.
has just blown the walls off in terms of who can do that. Again, you have an iPhone in your hand and you've got an unbelievable camera.
Oh,
I mean,
unbelievable.
Not that you would always. The cinematic mode on iPhones is shocking.
Yeah.
I used it. I never use it, but I could see somebody wanting to use it if we're doing like an amateur film.
Sure.
I used it for Christmas morning opening gifts one time.
Did you catch
Because
them?
there's so much happening and the kids are turning and because it grabs a face and it sharpens the focus on that particular face as they turn to the camera. That's how that cinematic mode works, and it was amazing the way that worked. And I thought, this is not, sometimes you want certain things to be out of focus and all that, but I can see how this was, a huge step forward to shooting something cinematically.
Yeah.
Actually, it's remarkable.
Absolutely.
You can shoot in 4K or even 8K, I think, on
I
an
think
iPhone
it
Pro
is.
now. And so
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's wild.
Well, and you know what's funny is our lake area here has some future filmmakers, and I don't want to say all their names, but when you find the Death Star in Lake of the Ozarks, you can find just about anything.
The Death Star?
Do you know that story?
No.
The Death Star was shipped from Los Angeles, put in a crate. They thought it was in the storage units in Los Angeles. And all of a sudden, a kid by the name of Todd Franklin, is at this flea market. And he walks in Lynn Creek and he goes, I think it was Lynn Creek. And he says, hey, that looks like the Death Star. And the guy that's running the store said, yeah. He said, we throw beer cans in there. He said, yeah. He said, how much do you take for that? And the guy said, give me this. And he said, but take it out and empty the beer cans out of it. And if you'll do that, I'll sell it to you for that amount. Fast forward, it actually was and is the Death Star.
No.
That these two,
I know Todd.
These two guys found, and now Jeff Cooney, that has done all these hilarious movies, he's come after him and says, hey, we want to do your story. And they're gonna. It's great.
It's the actual death, like, because obviously
Jeff
when
Cooney,
they shot this, it's like how big is it?
Yeah, it probably fits. It would fit up on this.
It's the
table.
actual one, like the George Lucas was.
It is, and they thought they
That's
didn't know what
crazy.
happened.
I didn't know this.
They didn't know what happened to it, and so they found it. Well, now Hollywood's going, this is an incredible story. So it's like the Death Star
How is
that
not in a
disappeared.
museum somewhere or some film museum or something?
It is. It's in Seattle now,
Okay.
and it's a phenomenal story. So
Okay.
anyway,
Wow,
we got
that's wild.
such crazy things going on here at the
We
lake.
do. The lake has actually some film history too.
I know a little bit of
You
it.
know the 1930s Jesse James movie that was filmed here. You know about that story?
I know the horse didn't make it.
The horse didn't make it. Yeah, that's that movie. The whole movie wasn't filmed here, but there was a portion of it where they're chasing him, and he has to jump off. The whole thing is he jumps off this cliff, or whatever, and they're on horseback, and the horse and he or the stunt guy, whatever, jump off the cliff, and it was a pretty tall cliff here at the lake. A lot of the rest of the movie wasn't shot here, but that moment was shot here because there were cliffs here, and the lake was brand new. At that point, the lake was dammed up in the 30s, and so
the terrain.
It was it was pristine, and there's nothing developed, and jumps off. The horse does not make it. Yeah. The stunt guy makes it. The horse does not make it.
See, I'm a horse guy, so that
it's I know it's kind of a wild. Those were kind of some wild days in movie making 100 years ago, almost now, and 90 plus years ago, and that actually led to, my understanding is, the thing at the end of all the movies that's, no animals were harmed in the making of this film. That incident was a major that and a few others were major catalysts for like sterner protections over if you're going to put an animal in a movie.
Right.
Anyways, just very interesting background. The lake has a little bit of film history.
Here at the lake.
Right here at the Lake of the Ozarks.
That's crazy.
That's right.
Thanks for the water, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So I don't want to keep you much longer, and but I do want to know a little. I love the Cathy family connection. That's super cool.
Thanks.
Open invitation for Bubba to come on the show. I'm sure I can make room if he ever wants to come on Take on the Lake. Just let him know for me if you would.
Well, and they'll probably come here when it opens because they like to be. Andrew, the son, which I've known him his entire life, is now CEO of Chick-fil-A.
Oh, okay.
Dan Cathy's son.
Okay.
And they're all deal with the business somehow. Only one doesn't, Seth Cathy, which lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and does his own thing on dirt bikes and stays out of the business.
Chattanooga's cool.
Yeah, you'd love the guy. Anyway, the Cathy family is incredible. I just got off of a trip in France, Nice, France. They flew my wife and I to Nice, France. We got on Bubba rented this sailboat for just, it's called Friends and Family, and rented a 300-foot sailboat, and we sailed up the coast. It was amazing. Wow. And he just basically said, we're at an age, I have a circle of friends that I trust and love, so we had a wonderful time together.
That's cool.
They've been good to me.
Cool.
Really good to me.
Cool. Well, their connection to the Pistol movie is just iconic. Yeah. Man, Chick-fil-A, I'm excited about it opening at the lake. Yeah. I'm so thankful they're closed on Sundays because it's literally across the street from our church.
Oh, my word.
And we'd be in so much trouble if they were open on Sundays. Yeah. It would be every Sunday after church. We would be just at the drive-thru. It's just easier this way. So I'm actually really glad they're not open on Sundays.
Great location.
Yeah, the location's going to be great. Yeah. Chick-fil-A, I was telling our interns, our young interns about this, that Chick-fil-A started in malls, really was kind of where they, and man, I have some iconic memories, or maybe I was telling my son about this, of Chick-fil-A in the mall where I grew up in San Antonio, Texas area.
No
the
kidding.
Rolling Oaks Mall, just on the northeast side of San Antonio. And there was a Chick-fil-A there, and that was where I had that chicken for the first time and loved me some mall Chick-fil-A, man. Yeah. Oh, those are some sweet memories. And anyways, so cool, the Chick-fil-A connection. Great. That's great that they funded that, and very interesting that you're using that model actually to try to kind of push into what's next. Any last kind of things that we didn't hit on what's next, on what you're working on, or anything else to tease out there?
Well, launching that company, which is going to be a massive thing that's going to take this year because it has to deal with energy, it has to do with new tax incentives, it has to do with filmmaking, real estate, and birthing that thing that can be done in any town.
Interesting.
So that's going to be good. Working on a new feature film that a lady that started the Red Cross, and so we're going to be working on that. I should pull this up because it really makes me look smart. I need my computer. We're going to be doing some stories that the whole family can embrace, and they're not just in your face stories, but if you want to take those stories for value or what it's worth, the message will be there. Cool. Especially marriage. I'm big on marriages, helping folks through. To say I've been married 45 years to Tammy, but we have not had some ups and downs.
Right.
And I'm, as a matter of fact, Simon Lithgow heard a song I wrote called "The Flying Cloud" that he wants to use because it's about being on the ship, and it's Bubba and Cindy Cathy's favorite song, because life is on a ship, and a lot of us get to a place that we want to bail off that ship. Lower the boat, man. I'm getting off this boat. I'm getting out of here. Mm-hmm. But my song is let's stay the course. And yeah, we may go through some rough seas. And we did out at France. We went through some rough seas in that 300-foot. But we use that, let's don't bail out. Let's ride the storm out. And my wife and I are so glad that we rode some of the storms out, and we're still together. And Jesus is still the head of our home. But Satan wants to steal and destroy lives, and especially homes today. So anyway, I don't know if that's where we need to jump off, but
that's a great kind of wrap up thought. So thanks for coming on.
Man, thank you for having me.
I appreciate your time, your storytelling, your breadth of experience. Name dropping over here, all kinds of cool people that you've met along the way is pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Really appreciate you, Rodney.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you having us.
Absolutely. Again, I'm gonna go back and we're gonna watch The Pistol again now. I'm gonna with the kids because it's one of those ones you could just watch it again and again. After I watched it as a kid, I dribbled the basketball around the house. Drive my mother crazy.
Well, you got to watch that ricochet one. That'll hurt a man.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, the bounce shot. Be careful on that one. Yeah. But my son did the same thing. At Christmas time, I was supposed to end the show right now, but now I'm telling another story. At Christmas, the big gift this past year at Christmas was the quiet basketballs. Have you seen those? That was like the thing. I don't know how this happens, how there's like a gift that kind of all of a sudden everybody wants. These weird, it's always happened this way ever since I can remember. But that was this past year. It was they're this really dense foam, and they're the size of a basketball, and you can dribble it, and it dribbles about like a basketball inside, and it's not like having a literal basketball in the house. And it's super loud and echoey. It's just foam, and so it's super silent. And
I feel jealous now.
After we watched The Pistol this past, I think it was the fall or something, I'd seen those going around and thought, I'm going to get one of those for my 15-year-old son. He was playing basketball at Osage over this past year. And, man, they were all sold out. Like I'd seen them at Menards and something before. And when, you finally did the last-minute Christmas shopping, everyone had the same idea. So all y'all out there who bought that, you deprived my son of a great Christmas gift, and I do not appreciate it. Yeah, we ended up ordering one like on Amazon months later, so he has one now. But anyway, so now he can watch The Pistol was my point, and dribble the ball in the house and not drive us all absolutely crazy like I did after I watched it as a kid. But it's worth it. It's worth it. If your kid watches The Pistol, and they'll learn not just basketball, but some good life lessons.
Well, bring your kids to church next time you perform or sing, minister.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Rodney. Appreciate it. Rodney Stone, folks, the producer of lots of things, but my favorite, The Pistol, and more things on the horizon. Appreciate you coming on, and thank you all so much for tuning in to Take on the Lake. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I did. I enjoyed the conversation. If you have ideas for other guests, stories, or things we ought to talk about, always shoot those my way. You can just probably message me on Facebook is the easiest way to do that. And until next time, stay anchored, stay curious, and we'll see you soon.